Hey y'all, thank you for joining me on another video. Y'all, memories are so crazy because you can go years and years without thinking of something, and all of a sudden it just randomly pops into your mind, and then it's like a light bulb goes off, and you think, oh my goodness, it's like everything becomes clear. Well, that happened to me today. I got a rare burst of energy, so I was using that energy to kind of clean up my apartment. So I put on my loud music, my country music, and I just started cleaning. Well, a song came on. Um, the name of it is "I Never Wanted to Be That Girl." Basically, it's talking about a gal that was dating a guy and then found out she was the other woman. And I started thinking how I can so relate to that song because I realized that, of course, my ex was cheating on me. I know of two definite times that he cheated on me, and there's quite a few other times that pretty sure he did. I just don't have definitive proof. And I started thinking about how when we first started talking, when I first met him, um, we hit it off pretty well, so I thought, and I forgot to get his phone number. So I called a mutual friend that introduced us and said, "Hey, what is his phone number?" And he said, "Well, he's got somebody." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm backing off." So then about a month later, I called the friend again because I didn't have a phone. I was using the neighbor's phone. And the friend said, "Hey, take down this number." And I'm like, "What number?" "Well, this is the ex's phone number." And I'm like, "Well, wait a minute. I thought he was dating." "No. Evidently, they broke up or something. I don't know." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I called a friend, called my ex, um, and we started talking. And well, I moved up to Nebraska after I was raped, and that's when he and I started really talking a lot. And I remember one time I called, and his mom had answered the phone. And she said, "I don't think he's here." And she said my name. And he said, "Oh, yeah, I'll talk to her." I'm like, "Okay." So he got on the phone, and I said, "What was that about?" And he said, "Oh, there's this gal that I broke up with a while back. She keeps on calling me and won't get the hint. So I just told my mom to not let her talk to me, that I'm not talking to her." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I laughed it off. I thought it was funny. Realized now that it wasn't so funny because I'm starting to put pieces together now, and I'll get to that in a minute. Then um, we got to talking, and um, I had asked about that gal that the friend thought he was dating. And I was like, "Oh no, we just work together and we go to concerts together. We're just friends." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." And since I had guy friends that were strictly just friends, they were like brothers to me, I didn't think anything of it. Well, fast forward to after we got married, I was pregnant, we moved back down to New Orleans. We went to his old job that he had down in New Orleans, and this gal that was just friends happened to be there. So he introduced us, and of course, he didn't even care about feelings or nothing. Um, that's not something he thought about or cared about, and introduced us. Hey, Jeannie, that's not her real name. This is my wife. And when she first looked at him, she's like, hi, nice to see you. And she gave him a nice hug. And then he goes, this is my wife, Penny. She froze. And the look on her face, I remember feeling so bad. To this day, her look haunts me because I felt so bad for her. Because she clearly had more feelings for him than he had for her. I, at the time, being naive and unknowing, thought, oh man, she just never expressed her feelings to him. And he's the one that got away. And it kind of haunted me because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, how did he choose me over her? Because I felt she was so much prettier than me. And I always think other women are prettier than I am. And so she's like very sweet, very gracious, and very personable. Couldn't talk long because she was at work. And then we left, and he really didn't mention her after that. Maybe on a very rare occasion, if he was talking about a concert that he went to that they happened to have gone to together. But other than that, he never really mentioned her. Then I came to the realization that when he and I met, my ex was already with two chicks. This gal that he introduced me to was probably the main chick at the time. And the gal that he broke up with that supposedly couldn't get the message was probably a side chick. And then when I came along and he saw my potential to be able to be used by him, because that's all it wasn't any of my attributes, that a typical person would like in a person. He dumped her and made me the side chick until he realized that for whatever reason he could use me more than this Jeannie girl, and so then I became the main chick. And I realized that now because of something he told me right before the day that I had him removed. I don't remember if it was the night before I had him removed or several days before, but it was within that month that I had already long caught on to him, that he had told me that he would purposely say things to me to get a reaction. He would go way below the belt to hurt me emotionally. And when I caught on to that, I stopped giving him the reaction that he wanted. Because in my mind, not knowing narcissists like I do now, and not knowing anything about narcissism in and of itself, I thought if I stopped giving him a reaction, he would stop doing it. I didn't know then what I know now, that when you start doing that, they realize they have no control, and then things become even more dangerous. Or the potential to become even more dangerous was there. And he was starting to get lower and lower below the belt in trying to get a reaction out of me. Well, one particular night, right before I had him removed, it was a horrible, nightmarish night. If I'm not mistaken, it was the night before I had him removed. And he was awful, horrible, saying awful things. Um, and one of the things he said that just recently came to mind was that he should have stayed with this gal, Jeannie, instead of choosing me. Because this gal had a thing for him and he knew it. She would always compliment him on his mastery of the English language because he could speak well when he chose to. And how he was very smart, which he is smart. He just used his intelligence for all the wrong things. Um, and how he was smarter than the guys she usually dated, and you know, he made it known that she liked him. And so it brought back that memory of when I first met this gal, or the only time I met this gal. He knew she liked him. He just chose me because he felt I could be manipulated more, or that he could use me more. In a way, I saved her. I mean, the poor girl was hurt like crazy when she met me. Um, but in a way, I saved her from years of abuse that she had no clue was bound to come. Because when a narcissist abuses you, it's not personal. It's because they don't want to deal with you anymore, or they're punishing you because they can't control you, or you have fallen off the pedestal they put you on and you dare not to be perfect. So, because you're not perfect, then they punish you in uh, abusive ways, either physical, emotional, or both. And that's what he was doing that night. He was bringing her up. He had never brought her up before, ever. After that one meeting, like I said, other than bringing her up in passing, mentioning a concert he went to. Oh, yeah, me and Janie went to that concert. It was good, or whatever. Never really talked about her. And all of a sudden, he brought it up when he's trying to get lower than low and make me have a reaction, which it did, because he was going really low and body shaming me, saying that she was prettier and better and probably better at other things than me, and the whole gamut. And I say this to know that he is not the only one. My ex is not the only one to have done something like this. This is across the board. Narcissists will have several people on the side as their supply, because in case one doesn't work out or he can't control one, he goes to the next one. Or a lot of times the narcissist will get bored. They'll get bored with the person, and go with another one. It's never really personal. You could be the most perfect person on this earth, if there was such a thing, and they would still get bored of you. Especially if you make one little mistake that takes you off their pedestal. And when I came to that realization today, I started journaling about the feelings because it hurts, but it angers me because he definitely used me, but he also used these other two women, including one that clearly liked him, and he knew she liked him. It wasn't even a case of she liked him, she was trying to put out signs that she liked him and he just wasn't catching on. He was oblivious. It wasn't even that. That night that he told me about how he knew she liked him and that she had a thing for him. He knew it. And yet because he didn't feel that she could um he could use her like he could use me. If anything, it was an insult. It was a backhanded compliment to an extent because I had whatever capabilities that he needed at the time, but it was an insult because it's like he chose me over this gal because he could use me more. And who's to say that this other gal that he broke up with and wouldn't get the message, who's to say what he did with her? I mean, how much he had her thinking that he liked her. Who's to say that he actually broke up with her? He could have just decided to try to ghost her, just to keep her on the side in case me or this other gal, Jeannie, didn't work out. Um, that is a high possibility as well. And because the way I understood it, this gal called several times even after he supposedly broke up with her, which is kind of weird that he didn't want to go with her because she evidently was very manipulative. I mean, able to be manipulated. Um, but who's to say? I mean, but it's never personal when they do this. When they discard someone, and that's what it's called, discarding, because that's what they do. They just throw them away in the trash like an old newspaper. It's the same, it's basically the same means. Just like they discard a person, it's just like if you were to crumple up a piece of trash and throw it away. That's exactly how it is. And it has nothing to do with how good you are, how bad you are, how many imperfections you have. It's never ever personal. It's not even about how you look. Yes, they do have a certain type that they are attracted to. With my ex, he loved very strong women with jet black hair. Um, that's and so um, that was a thing with him. But they don't choose people for the looks. They mainly choose people for how much they can use them or how much that they can benefit them. Which is why he married me. And I came to this realization a good while back because he was looking to move out of his mother's home. And in New Orleans, it's hard to have an apartment on your own unless you make $1 bazillion. And he didn't. But instead of getting a job that paid better, he chose to use me. And when I said that I was wanting, my family had moved to Chicago at that point, and I said I wanted to stay in Chicago and give it a try since I had never lived in Chicago. He got scared that that meant we would never be together and that I wouldn't go down to New Orleans and we would share an apartment together so he could move out. And that's when he proposed to me because he knew that if he proposed to me and I married him, he knew that he would have me permanently because he knew how I felt about marriage and how marriage was sacred and that it was, you know, I didn't view divorce as an option. Marriage was for life. And he knew this. And so he figured, marry me. He doesn't have to work as hard. He can use me to help him move out of his mom's place. So I guess all of this is to say that when you come to realize, when you are noticing the abuse and you realize you're being abused, don't ever take it personal because it's not. It's simply um, they think that they can use you. That's it in a nutshell. You're just a means to an end, a supply. Thank you guys, and you stay blessed.